Welcome to the Geek to Geek podcast. I'm Beej, and Void is not here. We are doing incredible. Unfortunately, he is not. He'll be back next week, and we'll be able to have the topic that we'd originally planned. But tonight, I am joined by my lovely wife once again. Well, I joined once again by my lovely wife, Jennifer. Say hello!
Hey!
And tonight, hi! I'm glad that you were able to do this. This is kind of a last-minute thing for us folks, so if you're listening, this is going to be just slightly different than usual because Jennifer is not Void, and I'm still me, so...
And I found out I was doing this like 30 minutes ago.
Well, by 30 minutes ago, she means about 12 hours ago.
Not.
It was... Well, Void is sick and very, not feeling well, not able to get off of the couch right now. So send him well wishes and, hope that he feels better. And hopefully you'll enjoy listening to us talk about The Incredibles! I know that Void and I were going to do an episode, and we still might do an episode on The Incredibles. But the reason that we wanted to talk about this tonight is because The Incredibles is Jennifer's favorite movie.
It is the movie that I watch on my birthday while I'm sitting in the living room floor eating Chinese food.
So that's kind of a ritual around our house, and it's, that means that it's kind of like the Star Wars for you, right? I mean, like, when I remember a picture that you took of me in the apartment where I'm sitting cross-legged in the floor watching Star Wars special features before the Force Awakens comes out. Like, that's kind of what The Incredibles is to you, isn't it? That kind of feeling?
I can't remember at what point I realized it was my favorite movie. I kept, trying to think, I'm the type of person, I'm a graduate student in English. I like, higher brow movies. At one point I was just like, nah, The Incredibles is my favorite movie. That's what I get back to.
So what is it about that? I mean, I know that I want to preface this by saying that I love The Incredibles, and I've come to appreciate it more and more because of you and how much you love it. And I know that Void has only seen it like once. He may have seen it twice, he said, and he didn't really see what the big deal was. He liked it, it was fine, it was a Pixar movie, and then it got this kind of, I don't even know if it's a cult status at this point, given the promotion that they're doing for 2, but he's gonna go back and revisit it and, see what it's all about before the second one comes in. And, like, what is it that made The Incredibles, like, stand out to you like that?
Well, I think sometimes just your first viewing of a film can color how you always see it. And it was something, I had heard about the movie and everything. I mean, obviously it was the next big Pixar movie, but I went to see it with friends in college, and we were just blown away by it. We just all went on and on about how great it was. And I think I've always been a superhero fan. I mean, my first favorite TV show I can remember was Darkwing Duck. And then, He-Man and She-Ra too. And then my first favorite, like, live action, more adult show.
And this is going to be in air quotes here. I'm just going to say more adult show.
Was Lois and Clark.
So
it was one of those things that, I didn't read comic books growing up, but I was just always drawn to stories about superheroes. And so the superhero family aspect, makes it fun, but, just thematically, it was really interesting, the movie. I enjoyed the, because that was when the first one came out was when No Child Left Behind was getting talked about a lot. So the, If Everyone's Special, No One Is, I thought was just a really interesting idea to be examining in this animated movie. And just the whole movie's fun. It's beautiful. I loved Elastigirl from, the moment I set eyes on her. I loved all the characters in it. But just funny, thoughtful, interesting things to say about families and relationships. It's just kind of the whole package, and it's not a movie I watch just constantly. I see it, every couple, I don't actually watch it every year on my birthday. It's one of my movies that I watch on my birthday. But I just, I never get tired of it.
And that's amazing to me because I get tired of it. I'm afraid this is going to be one of those, you're going to divorce me times where I get tired of it because it's so long that I don't get tired of it as a movie. I get tired of it whenever it's on. I'm ready for it to be done about 45 minutes before it's actually over.
It's not that long. I mean, it's I know they said, I think the new one is just under 2 hours, which is
Okay.
pretty long for an animated movie. I think that's what I heard.
But this one doesn't feel like an animated movie.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that Brad Bird does with this one in particular is, while it feels like an animated movie, but it doesn't feel like a cartoon. That there's something more about The Incredibles, that these characters are more three-dimensional, that you feel a lot more toward them, I think, where Bob and Helen, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, are real people in this, because you see their home life is an actual home life, as opposed to Clark Kent putting on glasses and still being Superman, really. And they're really going to establish that and really expand on it in the second one. And where the first one, for those of you who haven't paid attention to any of the marketing yet, who don't really know what the second one's about, the first one was the superheroes basically coming out of retirement and having to save the world and hiding, essentially, without government support, that all of it's illegal. And it was focusing on Mr. Incredible, on Bob.
You didn't ruin my death. You didn't save my life. You ruined my death.
Yeah, and that was how they got outlawed. Is like there was a lawsuit. People went crazy, and they said that they couldn't do this anymore.
Yeah, it was exploring. We had Batman versus Superman that was exploring the idea of poorly exploring the idea of what, like, the damage that these superheroes would do, and The Incredibles was doing that 14 years ago with the idea that these superheroes were damaging property and everything while saving people, and then there was the person suing because he kept caught him when he was trying to commit suicide, which is also very dark.
But it's Pixar. They're dark.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of I've talked about it on here last week. There's a lot of personal stuff going on right now, and you were like, "Hey, we could watch Coco," and I'm like, "No."
Oh, you should see. I used to teach freshman comp college on the side, and you should tell a group of college freshmen, see their faces when you explain to them that Toy Story is about the fear of becoming irrelevant and dying.
I can only imagine. I mean, as many years as I taught, I had a lot of it like that. I don't think I ever got to do the Toy Story one. That was not one that ever came up, I don't think. But
it came up because I had a group that was had watched Toy Story 3 right as they were graduating high school. So that was like their movie that they really connected with, because that movie was about Andy moving on, going to college, moving out. So they really connected to that. And it was that year that those freshmen had just seen it over the summer that we got into that talk.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, that's insane. Like, I didn't even think about that they hadn't really considered that and thinking about it. And
because they viewed it through it. We watched it and cried thinking about, the
loss of innocence and that we're old now.
Well, they connected to it on a much more immediate way, that was what they were dealing with right then, was actually leaving behind their childhoods in a, more concrete way than us talking about it, thinking of it more abstractly.
And that's what The Incredibles does, except for a completely separate set of people. Like, it is this suburban family who is trying to recapture their youth. It's, Bob in the first one has gotten fat. He's middle-aged and fat and has his family and works in a cubicle. I mean, he's working in insurance. And the first one is his story of becoming a superhero again, of getting back into shape, of going through his midlife crisis in a lot of ways, of buying a sports car and doing all of this and trying to be who he used to be, and while still learning who he actually is. And the second one, for you guys who haven't paid any attention or don't know yet, is that's going to be about Elastigirl, but Helen is going to be the main character of the second one.
And the second two picks up the moment that one ends. We're going to have them fighting the Underminer, which is how the first one ended. And
it's immediate. It is a Last Jedi style. The next second,
from what we've been told,
that Brad Bird, the director, has said that it's going to pick up. So when you see a lot of the trailers right now before it's out, you see them in the red Incredible suits, and there's a good deal of that footage that may be from the first 10 minutes of the movie, because they're picking up then, and we know that they're going to be wearing some of their old suits later on in the movie.
Which I was hoping would happen, first of all, because I love the Elastigirl suit way better than, and I love the old Mr. Incredible suit way better than the red suits that were really cool looking in 2004.
Yeah.
And I also kind of figured they'd get some different suits if for no reason other than merchandising.
Yeah.
They want to be able to sell different, them in different uniforms. So I figured they'd be wearing some, and it's not the, Helen is not in the same suit.
Is she not?
It is slightly different. But it's the same style. It's her Elastigirl suit rather than her Incredible suit.
Right. So, okay, so it's different than the Elastigirl suit from the beginning of
yes.
The Incredibles?
Yes, I believe so. I believe her legs were bare.
Okay.
And that she had tall boots and bare legs, I think. And she's in full pants now. I mean, she's...
Yeah, I mean...
like a 40-year-old woman now, so...
but I didn't know that. I hadn't noticed
Not that means you can't show your legs. Show your legs, everybody. But if you want to,
but they did change it. And,
it's different.
And
the color's a little
modernize
different.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And
from the first moment in the trailer... okay, so we watched... It was Valentine's Day night. It was Valentine's Day night, and we were waiting for they'd advertised that during the Olympics they were going to show that during the Olympics they were going to show the first footage from The Incredibles. So we were I was watching the Olympics all night. And we didn't watch the Olympics a lot anyway, but it was, Valentine's Day. We would have done something different that night, but it's like, nope, I've been waiting 14 years for the first footage from it. And, it was after 9:00 before.
And they had nothing. We were watching it on NBC on the main channel that was hosting the Olympics, that was showing the Olympics, and there had been nothing. We watched every commercial break just intently, just staring at the TV, and nothing.
And I finally saw, I was following on Twitter, and everybody was like, where's The Incredibles, preview? They've been advertising for a week or longer. And then I found out it got posted that they aired it on one of the other Olympic stations, even though they
CNBC that they did, because it wasn't NBC Sports.
Apparently, they did show it later that night. Because somebody else I knew saw it, but it was after they showed it after 9:00.
And it was way later than 9:00. We were still watching it when I left the room and went to the bathroom and came back, and you were angry on the couch cursing because of it showed on a different channel. And I think that was around 9:30 or so that you would check Twitter while I was gone. And
someone had posted where they recorded it. And then, I went, but anyway, all that to say, the moment that I saw Elastigirl in her Elastigirl suit on that Elasticycle, I looked at my husband and I said, I'm buying that toy. That better be a toy. I'm getting Elastigirl on that I didn't know it was called the Elasticycle yet, but
I'm getting Helen on her motorcycle.
Yeah.
And so now, fast forward to where we are now, and you're right about the merchandising. Mm-hmm. That you are absolutely correct that they are putting out all kinds of Incredibles toys now. In Target alone right now, there are 3 different sections for Incredibles toys. There's the Lego section for the Lego Junior sets. There are, I think, Junior Superheroes.
Whatever,
in the small
they're like
toys.
the Imaginext
They're
things,
essentially Imaginext stuff, except they're not. Because they're already Imaginext Incredibles stuff on individual figures. And then there is the normal Incredibles toys. And so you've been waiting over a decade for there to be actual Incredibles toys,
because
right?
I'm not just a huge collector. I don't have BJ's Star Wars collection. That is the reason I don't have a full workshop, because half the workshop is big totes of Star Wars figures
and comic books.
And
there are comic books,
but because it was my favorite movie, and then years later, I would just occasionally see, and it wasn't something I realized was my favorite movie when it first came out. It was over the years. So whenever I happened to see some sort of Incredibles toy at a yard sale or at a thrift store, I'd always pick it up because there wasn't a lot around. And I'd seek it out some. Not really obsessively, but if I saw something, I have this really cool Incredibles phone that I got at a thrift store.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's at my office.
It's at your office, yeah.
It's a red phone, like landline phone.
Like Batman from the 60s landline phone with the Incredibles.
And the rotary dial on it is the big Incredible symbol. It's a working phone. It's supposed to light up, but when it rings, but I've never had it hooked up to test that.
Okay.
Because it's not like I have a landline at home. But but so I'm having to be very judicious because I'm used to buying every Incredibles thing that I happen to run across, which has not added up to that much money over the years.
Like, we have a couple of shelves, maybe, with some stuff on it.
Yeah.
Like, up to this point, like, when you and I started dating in 2008, the only Incredibles toys that you were able to find were in a Disney Seconds shop because you had a friend who worked at Disney, and you were able to set up a diorama, basically, of tiny figurines that they had at Disney World in a damaged and second shop that you got at a discount. And there was not much else. Like, there was barely anything.
I mean, if I got on eBay, I could have found, I never bought anything off eBay. I looked a few times, but I only just pay. I have a one like Pez dispenser, just random stuff that I've picked up here and there. But I'm having to, because now, I mean, they're going all out on the merchandising and advertising for this movie. I'm hoping that, I mean, I believe it's going to be good because Brad Bird hasn't had He's had
one real kind of failure, and we loved Tomorrowland the first time we saw it. It was nowhere near as good the second time. But he did the Iron Giant, you guys. He did Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which is fantastic, and if you've never seen it...
That's one of the other movies that I sometimes watch on my birthday.
It is, and it's not even just because it's Brad Bird, it's because it's an action movie that watches like you're watching a cartoon. That real people are doing things like you're watching an animated cartoon.
He's stealing my lines here, but...
Yeah, I did. I mean, that was... You guys, we have these discussions like all the time, and I have no idea at this point who said things originally.
Because the one thing I was going to say about, you know, The Incredibles in general is that was the first Brad Bird movie I'd ever seen, because I hadn't seen The Iron Giant before that. And then obviously Ratatouille is also great, and Ghost Protocol is fantastic. Tomorrowland, I was in love with it when we saw it the first time. I said it was like going to Disney World, but in watching a movie. It was great. And I still stand by that it had great ideas in it. Upon rewatching, I saw the flaws in pacing and things like that a lot more, but I still don't think it is the failure that a lot of people made it out to be, because it was very ambitious, and there's a lot about it that I really liked. I really loved the idea of, I really enjoyed the concept of us, the self-fulfilling prophecy that we keep, you know, telling these dystopian narratives, and that it's leading us down the path to dystopia. I thought that was a really interesting concept that played out really well in the movie. And because of that, Tomorrowland is, I think, the only movie where I completely identify with the villain and understand 100% what drove them there. That whenever I watch it, I understand why the heroes have to do what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm like, he's not wrong in what he's doing, trying to protect the world like that. It's not like Fanus, where you're like, why don't you just make there be more resources if you're so powerful, dude?
Yeah, it's like, you don't have to kill half
Spoiler
of everybody.
Alert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, guys, I'm assuming because you're listening to this that you know this, but it's Thanos, you know, he's a big bad. But yeah, it's like, I can't really get my mind around that kind of epic bad guy. But in Tomorrowland, it's like, yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I'd be doing the same thing. And that's what Brad Bird does, is he approaches topics that are really pertinent to us. I mean, the Iron Giant does it. Ghost Protocol really approaches things from a human perspective. Like, you see a lot more humanity in those Mission Impossible characters in that movie than you do in any of the others, except maybe J.J. Abrams in Mission Impossible 3, which he handed off to Brad Bird. And don't watch Rogue Nation. It's just not good, y'all. But that said, like, all of this merchandise, like Jennifer was saying, she wanted Helen on this motorcycle. They're finally putting out these toys. One of the toys, y'all, is Elastigirl on her Elasticycle.
Oh, there's more than one version of it.
Well, I know,
but the one, well, let me tell my story. And then I was waiting for the toys to be premiered, and I finally found a video of one of the toy conventions where they
it was at Toy Fair, wasn't it? It was this year's Toy Fair.
What's the toy manufacturer?
Jax.
Jax. It was Jax showing off, and let me tell you, these they are doing some excellent work with these toys and this merchandise because they're really high quality. They look really nice and they're inventive. Because of course I was so excited because I see Elastigirl. It's I think an 11-inch tall Elastigirl.
Yeah, I think so.
On her Elasticycle, and it's called the Elasticycle because part of it actually stretches to be longer. It stretches like her. And her arms stretch as she stretches it, and the toy does that too. Mm-hmm. And it has a mount.
It has a mount and a crank.
Yeah, crank that you crank her up and she shoots off, and she comes off of the motorcycle. She has a cool helmet. It just looks great. It is. It's
a good one to set up and to play with. Mm-hmm. Like, we've done both already. It's on your desk at work, right? Yes. And then there's my favorite toy that they did. And I'm telling you this, and I'm going to steal the thunder on this one, but, and steal your lines probably or whatever. But, when we're going through Target like this, like, she's as bad as I am, like grabbing things and holding them and then having to go put them back as she's like picking and choosing which ones of these she's going to judiciously spend her money on. And they get to what they've called the power couple toy. And it is my absolute favorite thing. Because in the movie, Bob is the superhero. In the first movie, Bob is this super strong, like, hulkish Captain America muscle guy. And he throws Helen, she stretches and throws her like a slingshot. This toy does that, where his arms are up in the Y, and you put her hand, she's like a Stretch Armstrong kind of toy, you put her hands in his, and you pull back, his arms come back a little bit, and you launch her across the room or the yard or wherever you are, and she just flies like out of a slingshot, and she flies good.
And whenever you pull it back, there's sound effects, like they talk, and
yeah, he's like, good job, honey, and because that's what Coach sounds like. And the guy who plays Bob plays Coach, the old TV show Coach. If you don't know that, go Google it. And Hayden T. I can't remember his name. Craig T. Nelson. But it's like, this toy is awesome. Like, I love playing with
and there's these little cardboard bad guys that you can set up to try to aim. You can't aim.
No.
It's very hard.
They have been knocked down on accident and mostly run over by Elastigirl in the Elasticycle. But there's these things that are just really, really cool to play with. And up until this point, you had those minifigures, right? Mm. And then you had the Disney Infinity figures. Because the first Disney Infinity game had actually launched with The Incredibles. Mr. Incredible was in the starter pack. And then you could get the rest of the family and Syndrome, the bad guy from the first movie, as figures. And we've got those. You've got those.
They're sharp.
And they're great. And they're some of the best figures that they've still put out, even with all the new stuff that they've got. Disney Infinity figures, y'all have heard me talk about a lot. That they're just good toys. And those are great. And there are some Funko Pops. You don't have any of the Funkos, do you? And you know why, guys? Think about this. There is a Funko Pop that is Mr. Incredible in his original suit, the blue and black suit. And I was going to buy this for Jennifer for Christmas or her birthday this year. I can't remember which it was. And so I'm on the internet and I'm typing and looking. And it sells for like $1,500. It is one of the, if not the most expensive, rarest Funko Pop there is, because it was one of the original set. They didn't make many of them. It was an exclusive. And it kind of makes my heart warm for you that it's Mr. Incredible that is the rarest, most expensive Funko Pop at this point.
Maybe a lot warmer if I had bought it to start with, and
I understand
and could then make $1,500 off of it. I don't love The Incredibles that much.
We would be selling it. I don't know. I love Star Wars that much. I have lightsabers that are signed by like James Earl Jones that I can't bring myself to sell. So it's like I can't even say that we'd be selling it, because I'd be like, oh no. But so there are new Funko Pops coming out. I haven't seen them. Like, have you seen them in stores anywhere? Or?
I hadn't. I think I saw some online, but of all the really cool toys, the Funkos are kind of the least of my interest, considering how cool the other toys are.
However, what has piqued your interest are blind boxes. I never thought my wife would like blind boxes, y'all. And when she goes to the store, she is buying incredible figurines in these blind boxes to put in her dioramas, and it makes me so happy that right beside...
I'm not usually a diorama person, so you know.
I know, and that's why it makes me so happy that on our shelf by our TV, she has an Incredibles diorama.
I didn't create this. They have these little action play sets that are real stylized. My grammar is not so great tonight. I'm very tired. And it was did a lot at work today. Researching intellectual freedom and censorship and all that stuff.
She's a librarian.
Yeah. And, where was I? But they have, because one of the things of, The Incredibles is sort of loosely based in, it has a mid-century aesthetic. So a lot of the artwork, promotional artwork that came out for it and the concept artwork, it has that mid-century stylized 60s look.
That kind of atomic stylization that you'll see.
And they have these little action sets, that are in that style with the little bitty characters that go
like
in
inch and a half, figures 2 inch maybe.
Or that stylized look like a lot of the not promotional art. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Concept art.
Concept art. I was thinking promotional art too.
Yeah, a lot of the concept art was, and I've always looked for art of that concept art style. So when I saw the little figures and the little play sets, I had to get those to set up.
And we're still missing one we're going to have to get online. The Frozone one just hasn't been in stores.
But not in our Target.
At least not in our Target, yeah. So.
And so the day that I went, okay, first of all, we went to Disney World at late April. It was the end of April. And I'm excited because I'm thinking there's going to be tons of Incredibles stuff. We're 6 weeks away from a new Incredibles movie. There's going to be lots of merchandise in the parks. I'm going to spend lots of money. We saw 2 t-shirts in one store.
Did we see 2 t-shirts? I can't even think of that.
It was like a set, and it was like a mom and dad one or something. So it wasn't even something that I could get. I mean, there was nothing. I found one pin, they have the collectible pins in Disney World. I found one pin, and I had been disappointed because I had seen that they were launching their Incredibles being, taking over the park and the characters being out, later, the next month.
It's in May.
This week.
I think it's this week that we're recording it. It's out at Disney. I think it's Incredibles take over Tomorrowland, I think.
So, because I've been just chomping at the bit to get my hands on some of the merchandise, that was supposed to be released in April, and I was like, oh, it's going to be in Disney World. Well, there was nothing in Disney World. We even went to a Pixar, a specific Pixar store. They had a whole section of Wall-E merchandise, and nothing for The Incredibles. It was so weird. There was
literally nothing in that store that was The Incredibles, and it's ridiculous.
I'm sure they probably are launching it
They're
now.
Holding off, I'm sure, but...
So we came back, and I don't know how much we did. Our lives kind of hit the fan when we came back from our trip. And we had a really bad day, and so we decided to go shopping. And I had a dream when I had come back, after I come back, that I had gone to Target, and there was a huge section of Incredibles toys. It was the entire, sort of the holiday section in Target, that it was all Incredibles toys, and that they had and that they had the Elastigirl and the Elasticycle that I wanted. They had everything, and they had that in stock specifically. I had this dream about it. It was a great dream. And that had actually made me think, oh, I should check and see if Target has this particular one that I'm wanting it. So I looked online, and it showed that it wasn't in the store. It showed it wasn't available to ship either. I couldn't. The only way you could buy it was to spend $80 on it, I think it was, when the regular price was $40. And but anyway, we decided to go to Target and to try to distract ourselves and cheer ourselves up, and because I was like, I want to go spend some money, and I didn't even know I was going to be looking for Incredible stuff, and we went to the toy outlet, and sure enough, it wasn't quite as extensive as my dream.
It wasn't the entire corner of the store,
but big Incredible section, and they had Elastigirl on the Elasticycle that the website said they didn't have, so it was...
and it was not in store, and it's great, and you've been playing with it really ever since. You brought it to work because your office mate wanted to see it and play with it on the floor at work.
It's really cool.
It's really cool, you guys. And so, even speaking of playing with, they've got all of these toys, and The Incredibles would make a fantastic video game, or they should make a fantastic video game, and there have been 3 Incredibles games, and they're all kind of meh up to this point. And initially, you've played all of them at this point. And
there's a computer game of a mini games I actually found recently.
Is there?
Yeah, it's a PC game.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to find that somewhere and get it
It's
for
like,
you.
I mean, don't spend much money on it. It's like weird little mini games, apparently.
Well, I didn't even know that one existed. So initially, there was the PS2 game. That they and the thing is, the reason these could be good, like PS2 action platformers are good sometimes, and y'all know I love Bubsy 3D, so y'all know that I'll play a bad video game. But the Incredibles one is terrible. Like it is. Jennifer just stopped playing it.
I don't even remember why I didn't like it. I just know I didn't like it.
Yeah, you just didn't like it, and that's saying a lot.
It may have also been that I played Disney Infinity before. First, and it was better.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There was the Disney Infinity one that was 3D, but even that you stopped before you beat it because it wasn't. It didn't flesh anything out because it was Disney Infinity 1. They didn't have everything figured out yet. It was very bare. It was not all themed. Like you could use them.
And I'm not crazy about open world stuff.
Yep, you're not. You want things that are kind of linear, honestly. And so the DS game, though, there is a Nintendo DS, original DS game, that is kind of a 2.5D side-scroller where it will run around and the world will skew and it'll be like you're turning and the world will turn while you're running, but it's a 2D side-scroller. And you have beaten this one twice, 3 times now? Like you
just once.
Have you only beat it
no,
once?
I didn't. I've played it a little bit more recently, but yeah, I just beat it once. It's a lot of fun. It's very difficult. The controls are difficult, but it is a lot of fun because you switch back and forth between Bob and Frozone.
Like immediately, like you can press a button and you're one or the other, and it has puzzles that are really hard. There are platforming elements of this that are super hard.
A lot of it's the controls that are hard.
Yeah.
Because you have to freeze these little stepping stones and jump onto them as Frozone, and it's just hard to land on them because the controls are super sensitive.
Yeah, and it's a DS game, and it's a DS movie game. Like, these are definitely movie games that were made, which is something that they're getting out of this time, because sitting on the desk here where we're recording is our Target $1 pre-order The Incredibles Lego game card that we picked up. And so they're making a Lego Incredibles game. So it's going to be fully fleshed out. Y'all know what the Lego games are, where there are going to be different worlds. I'm assuming it's going to take you through both movies.
It's going to be both movies with some... Also, I read that there's going to be some scenes fleshed out. Like, I can't remember. I read that there's going to be... I think Bob and Helen in their original outfits fighting like the French mimes.
Oh, awesome.
Like that, because they fight the, what was the mime's name in the first one?
Oh, Bon Voyage.
Yeah, Bon Voyage. Thank you. Bon Voyage, yeah, they're going to be fighting French mimes. That there's a whole, like, they take that one scene and make a whole level out of it. So
awesome.
That'll be fun. I read that today or yesterday.
The only thing that makes me scared about you not liking this one, and we're going to get this one day one, you guys. You're going to hear me talking a lot about this, or you'll hear Jennifer talking a lot about this. And I'm afraid you're not going to finish it, because when we started playing the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, you didn't like it because it wasn't as linear as Lego Batman and the earlier Lego games, because they've opened up a lot more, because you don't like open world stuff as much.
Lego Batman 2 that I played?
It was Lego Batman 2 that you played first. We haven't played Lego Batman 3 together. I've played it a little bit, and I've played and beat Lego Marvel Superheroes. Like, it's great. But yeah, I mean, you didn't like the more open part of it. And I don't like the game as much as I thought I would either. I do like the first one better. But you can be Kamala Khan, you can be Ms. Marvel in the second one, and she's one of the main characters. So if that's a big deal for you, like it was for us buying it, that was why we bought it on the Switch. Like, it is still a really good game. You also get to go to Wakanda, which is super cool. So they're actually giving The Incredibles a really good game this time. That I'm assuming it's a good game, because I honestly haven't played a bad Lego game since I think the first Lego Star Wars, when going through the Phantom Menace part of it on the iPhone or the regular old DS. Like, those are the ones I didn't like that much. And the newer ones are great. Like the Phantom Menace is awesome. Not the Phantom Menace. No, I just said that was terrible. The Force Awakens is an awesome Lego game. I know Austin Platinum did, I think. Like he went nuts over the, Force Awakens, PS3 or PS4 game and just went nuts. And so The Incredibles, I'm hoping is that good too. Like, I look forward to playing this together and you never letting me be Elastigirl. That at any given time, unless we are forced away from it, you'll never let me be her. And, I'm really looking forward to it, to being able to play that, 2-player when it comes out. And it comes out, what, in 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
It comes out on the same day as the
same
movie,
day?
yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of, I was trying to figure out how I was going to see the movie, and then, a few weeks ago, because I figured I was planning to just see it here in town at a regular theater the first night, and then if it was released in IMAX, go see it in IMAX later, because this will be something I go see more than once. But then I was just looking up what the different options were, and found out that IMAX theaters are doing a double feature where they're converting the first movie to IMAX, because I don't think it was released in IMAX originally, and then the 2D Incredibles 2 IMAX, and that's going to be on June 13th, which is, the movie releases on June 15th. They do the 7:00 show, on the 14th, but if you go to see the IMAX double feature, you get to see it on the 13th, so I've got my tickets.
Yeah, so basically, you guys, if you're as big an Incredibles fan as she is, or you really want to see it early, you can get a double feature in IMAX 2 days early if you go buy tickets right now. You bought yours on Fandango, right?
Yeah.
You're able to just get them online and pick a theater and everything?
Yeah, I also was looking through to see because different theaters are actually doing different little commemorative things. So by buying on Fandango, you get a poster. I mean, it's a Fandango poster that you have to pay $8 shipping for. And then the Regal IMAX theater that we're going to is going to be giving mini posters.
Okay. We'll both get one of those,
yeah.
right? So are they going to be different, or they're going to be the same?
I think they're the same. I don't know for sure. They haven't shown it. But on Fandango, you had 2 different posters to pick from.
So do we both get one of those, or do you only get one for one order?
Probably just one for one order,
But I look forward to this. The only thing is, whether it's good or bad for the other people who are going to see it, it's not in 3D. So it's not going to be IMAX 3D. So,
I believe it is being released in IMAX 3D, but the double
feature is not, because they're re-releasing, you said, the first one in IMAX 3D. So if they were IMAX, so if they were going to be remaking and re-IMAXing the first one, they would have to be doing it separate to 3D, and it's just more cost and everything along those lines. So I understand. I'm actually glad about it.
I don't I didn't want to see it in 3D the first time anyway. We may go back and see it in 3D before it's over. But
Solo comes out this week, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to see it in 2D first, and then I'll go back over the weekend or next week.
Oh, I didn't even know it was being released in 3D.
Yeah, I'm assuming it is. I don't have any real idea, but I'm assuming everything's getting released in 3D, at least for a few showings. I don't know, Star Wars, I'm assuming they are.
Was Jedi?
But, yeah,
Last Jedi?
Yeah. No. It was good. I saw it. I actually liked it in 3D. So The Incredibles is Jennifer's bag. It is fantastic. It is incredible.
No.
But, so that was what we wanted to talk about. Void and I have been talking about doing this, and I honestly, when we were talking about looking for a topic tonight, today, we were talking about, we could talk about Deadpool 2, which was awesome, you guys, and Jennifer's the one who wanted to see it. That wasn't even a me thing. I wasn't even planning on going and seeing it, and Friday morning, she's like, we're going to go see Deadpool tonight if you want to.
We have Movie Pass. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, but I didn't want to get out of the house. And you were like, let's go see this. And it was awesome. And so we thought about talking about that. And you've also been playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Switch, the new one, and you're just having fun with it. I know I talked about it, I think last week maybe, where you said, I don't know what to say about Donkey Kong. It's fun, and I like it, and I'm a monkey. And it's that's...
I can normally analyze just about anything, but Donkey Kong is just I'm a monkey, I'm running around, it's fun, it's pretty.
Yeah,
the controls feel good.
Yeah, and that's...
You bounce on hot air balloons, that's real nice.
It's awesome, y'all. And if you haven't
I just
played
keep
it,
getting countryer.
you do. That's okay. Everybody's used to my voice. And but we were going to talk about that, and then she just looked at me over dinner and was like, The Incredibles! We can talk about The Incredibles! And that's just kind of perfect, because that really is her thing.
If it had been a few weeks ago, I would have said The X-Files!
Yep, because that would have, that was taking over, y'all. We still may have to do that at some point, because that was, Jennifer wanted to be Scully when she grew up at one point. Just like I think
I didn't want to wait till I grew up to be Scully.
You want to be Scully right then.
Yeah, I begged my mom to buy me a business suit.
I kind of want to be Scully myself. I wish I were as cool as Scully. I would say Mulder, but nobody wants to be Mulder. It's although that is our relationship, though, we realized early on that you were Scully and that I was Mulder because of rods.
But we're both much better adjusted people.
Yeah, we may have our mental health issues, but we are not Mulder and Scully.
Not in a Chris Carter episode, that's for sure.
No, goodness gracious, no. So before we get off on any more tangents, I think I will call it this week. So I really appreciate you guys listening and talking with us about The Incredibles. Hopefully Void will be feeling better and we'll be able to come back next week, and we can get back to our regularly scheduled topic that we were talking about.
We need you back, Void, because this is my lie on the floor, hug my dog, and watch Netflix alone time.
It is, and now she has been sitting at a desk talking into a microphone with me, so it's been even more intense beach time. So that's intense. So we were going to be talking about choosing video game consoles this week, and we won't be able to do that next week because Star Wars comes out this weekend. So next week will be our solo show, but it'll be a duo. Because both two hosts, duo, solo. She's just looking at me. I wish you guys could see the look on my wife's face right now. She has to deal with these puns all the time, and you guys only get it once a week. So, we'll be back next week with Star Wars. Hopefully it will be with Void and not just me and Jennifer doing this, though she will be seeing it and loving it every bit as much as I am, because there's probably going to be a lot of Chewbacca in this.
That's all I care about in this one.
And, and Lando. We care about Donald Glover being Lando because he's awesome. But yeah, so that's us, you guys. Make sure that you check out all of the rest of the shows on the network. You need to be listening to Tea Time with Katie and Chelsea, Geektitude with Joe Hogan, and y'all, Rob has finished up the comic box. He has released episode 100. It is the final episode. If you didn't get to send in any questions, that's okay. He's still on Twitter as @Nobi, and you can always ask him any questions on there. But if you want to listen to him answer and go through the finale, it is great, and we love Rob and can't wait to see what he's going to do next for us. But putting out a weekly podcast was intense with the amount of research that he had to do. So go
BJ
give him.
Doesn't research.
I do. Void does most of the research, and I talk a lot. But go give Nobi some love and listen to the comic box. Also listen to Katie and Chelsea and Joe as well, and obviously. And
listen to my friend Allison's podcast, Not Your Little Lady, about what it's like to be a woman in the South.
That's true. It is, which is something. That's a topic we don't have time to get into here. So listen to Allison's on that one. But if you guys want to reach us, you can get us anytime you want by email at geek2geekcast@gmail.com. You can also get us on Twitter at geek2geekcast. And if you want, we have longer discussion threads on our subreddit at reddit.com/r/geek2geekcast. You can find Jennifer on Twitter at JBKeaton13.
You can't find me there.
That's her handle, and sometimes she gets emails.
I logged into that just so I could reply to an Incredibles post to enter to win tickets to the premiere.
So
that's the only time I've been on Twitter in the last 3 years.
She might get emails if you bother her on there, and I am on Twitter as @ProfessorBeej as always. So this has been Beej and Jennifer with your Geek to Geek podcast. That'll do it for this week. See you next week, Geekatoos. Bye. I have to do both of them this week. Bye. Jennifer, make a sound. Bye.